Hey guys, Arcade Geek here. Time to basically put the finishing touches on the DFW Arcade Warehouse Raid series. So this is going to be our final video. Last night Corey and I got together and split up the balance of all the parts that remained. So I've got a truckload of parts that you'll see when we get to that section of the warehouse here. And I'm taking that home as well as a handful of the games that we're going to be delivering to my house today. And then Corey's taking the rest. So it's been a lot of fun. You know, we started off with 110 games. That's a lot. You don't think of that being as a big number, but when you see them laid out, I mean, if you look at the warehouse today, I mean, it's nothing but empty walls and a handful of games that remain here, which, you know, obviously these will all be gone by this weekend. But it used to be wall to wall. Every wall in this place had a game on it. And then in some other areas, we had alleys going down the middle here. So if you go back and watch the first video, you can really appreciate just how far we've come along in the last 5 months. You know, 110 games is a lot to sell, particularly in a market like DFW where you don't have, I mean, there's collectors, don't get me wrong, but you don't have sort of the East Coast, West Coast where you've got thousands of people that are into arcades just based on the population that live in those markets. And so when you put 100 games out to market, I mean, you kind of flood it a little bit. And it's not just us. There are 2 or 3 other guys here in town that also have, 20, 30 games for sale at any given time. So the prices on some of the DFW games really did come down over the last 5 months. And so I'm sure that the other guys will appreciate us being done with this because we won't be posting out to Craigslist every day and, posting out to Clav and, obviously undercutting a lot of the retail guys' pricing because, they've got a business to run, and we were in this more as a hobby and a way to get some games and make a little money on the side. So anyway, last night we got basically split up everything that I had interest in, and then at the end when it started to get to the things that I just didn't really want to deal with, I just said, Corey, you have it all. You take everything that's left in here. And so some of what I'll show you today in the video is going to be games I went ahead and gave to him. I'll mention them just so you know that they are technically still for sale if you want to hit him up on Clav. Wannabe Retrocade is his Clav handle. Of course, you can always hit me up as the Arcade Geek, and I will forward whatever messages off to him. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So the Discitron is the game that I wanted to actually take. In fact, let me walk over there and start there. So of our remaining games, this is really the only one I had any interest in. I'm somewhat limited on space, and again, I'm not in the arcade business outside of this venture. So I did want this game, though. I thought it'd be fun to restore, and maybe I'll sell it, maybe I'll keep it for a while and then sell it. I don't really know. So anyway, game plays great, works great, just has some cosmetic issues. So I've got some artwork I need to source here. The side art, they do sell at This Old Game, so that won't be a problem. But it takes about a month or so to get parts in when you order from there. And but there are some other items here, like just the little sort of marquee framed, the paint is separating, and I want to source another one of those. The paint has come off this glass here as well, so I need to find that. And just a couple other things that are going to be a little more time consuming. So of the games that I'm going to be restoring in the next handful of months, this is probably the one that's going to take a little bit of work to actually get to the point where I can do the full restore, and I won't get started until I have everything I need. Anyway, so I took this one, and then I basically gave Corey a ton of other stuff to offset the value of this one in trade. So he does have the sports station. The wiring on it was a little iffy, so we never did get a chance to fully test the game. I think we had this priced at $150, so if you're interested, hit Corey up on that. The tapper is actually sold. He's going to put that in the new arcade he's opening up here in Dallas, so you can see and play this one soon if you're local. Final Lap 3, this one I thought would be great for a MAME guy. The game had some intermittent issues on boot. The gas pedal never did work. We didn't spend a lot of time on it because it wasn't a high-value game, even if it was in working condition. So MAME guys, man, this would be a sweet. I mean, it's in pretty good condition here. Everything seemed to be okay. It just needs to be rewired. And you could, of course, put some other game in here, too. It doesn't need to be Final Lap 3. Let's see. Daytonas, so I've had a lot of interest in parts. Will you sell this part? Will you sell that part? And we've been hesitant to it at this point because we kind of wanted to sell them all as a kit. But I went ahead and just gave all this to Corey. So if you're looking for parts, I know he is going to be parting these out. They don't currently work. We didn't spend any time trying to get them to work, though. So if there's something you're looking for on a Daytona USA, definitely hit him up on Clav. Let's see. This Irish Asteroids Deluxe I talked about. I picked that up on Craigslist. That was not part of our 110 games, but I did list it out for sale, and I had it at 300. So as we were making some trades for the final games, I went in and gave Corey this one. So I don't know whether to put it in the arcade or put it out for sale. I mean, it's a very rare, unusual game to find in the U.S., and it's in excellent condition and plays great. So interested, hit him up there. Pole position, these boards were tested working. But the monitor is blowing a fuse, so it needs a little bit of work there. I think we had this at 400, so Corey ended up with that. So if you're looking for a pole position with a little bit of work to do, that's a good one. Berserk, excuse me, I have the J-Rock Berserk Frenzy board, the dual, and harness and power supply and everything, so I'm going to be restoring this one. I think I'm going to make it a Berserk cabinet. I did buy a new panel from one of the guys on Clav, with the original bat stick and the panel, so I'll be swapping that out and then basically just restoring the rest of the cabinet. I've got stencils that have already arrived, so it should be a lot of fun. There's a lot of, obviously, work to do on it, particularly on the bottom, so I think that'll be a good cosmetic restore series. And those J-Rock boards are great. I mean, so I've got a Multi-Williams board at some point once I source a cabinet that I'll be doing as well, so I'm looking forward to this series. I just don't know if this is going to be the first one I do or not, but it will definitely be coming up soon. Operation Wolf is sold. Let's go into some of the next room here. So this room's empty now. You know, we had parts and whatnot that were in here. We've got a handful of boards still left. I went ahead and gave Corey. I went through the bezels and looked at some. I thought, these are kind of cool, interesting. Wouldn't be, bad idea for decoration, or maybe there was some value I thought in selling, trading, etc. So I went and gave him the rest of those. There are a few things that we're still partners on. We're going to get this flight stick for the yoke for Star Wars out to eBay probably today, so, and a few other items that will get sold off that way. Let's see, coming into the back room here, the Super Pac cab is sold. That's going out during the auction. The Pong Doubles cab, Corey ended up with this one, so if you are interested in the Pong Doubles, we had it at 400, which is a steal for this rare of a game, and you can hit him up on Cloth. Play Choice 10, that one is Corey's actually bought earlier, excuse me, and it's going to take, excuse me, earlier. And so play that one at his arcade someday. The Robotron here is the one I'm actually going to be taking and restoring. I've mentioned it many times. I got my stencils in for it. I've got some artwork in. I still need to get a control panel overlay. I think there's a guy on Clav that's reproducing those, and it should hopefully be close, so I'll be ordering one of those. So this will probably be one of the games I just keep and play for the time being as is until I get the overlay in, and then I'll go ahead and get started on doing the full restore, or maybe I'll do the restore and just shoot the video along the way. I'm thinking I might actually restore some of these all at the same time and just splice video series together and then release them as I complete the game. So I'm not really 100% sure. I know I need to cut the bottom out and get some of that old rotted section out. I'm going to obviously repaint and re-stencil. New control panel overlay. The 4-inch Wickos are actually inside the originals, so I'll put those, of course, back on, and just that kind of stuff. I might look for a new bezel. This one's got a little flaking on it, so I might look for that, or just buy a reproduction. So anyway, that's definitely one that's going to be coming. That's going home with me today. The Blitz 99, I did end up with this one, so I'm going to just take the monitor chassis off, which was a good one, and pull the Nintendo 64 memory card thing off, take the board, probably the harness, those things. I'm going to do that actually after I shoot this video, so that one will be coming home. If you're looking for a Blitz 99, that is for sale. Probably the game board, marquee, maybe the harness or something be $100, and maybe the chassis $50, because I know it works, and those Wells Gardner ones aren't cheap, so probably around $150 you can have everything, but if you're only interested in a certain part, hit me up on that. Tempest is sold and going with Corey, so is the pole position, he bought that. Going into the last room here, there is my big pile of stuff that's going into my truck here, so I'm going to wrap the video and start loading this part up, and then we're taking the box truck and loading the full games over today. But you look around, it's pretty empty. So we did make our final 3 sales last night. So the Donkey Kong, the Asteroids Deluxe, and the Spy Hunter all sold last night to one guy that came out. Here's local. So all somewhat of a project. The Asteroids Deluxe is working and fine, but the Spy Hunter is a complete project that needs work. The Donkey Kong still needs some monitor work as well. But anyway, that's all going with him. The Space Invaders empty cabinet, 50 bucks. The Tron, as I've mentioned, this is probably maybe the first one I'm going to do. I think this is the first one I'm going to do. I've got all the artwork, I've got all the new parts. I just obviously need to do the cabinet. The game works fine. I've got new sticks and new panels and new, you name it, I've got it. But the game plays as it sits. It just needs a new bulb. It needs a bunch of that type of stuff. So I think that's going to be a fun restore series, and I think this is probably the one that I'm going to start with. And like I said, I've got all the parts sitting up on top. So looking forward to doing that. Let's see. On the dartboards, I went ahead and gave them to Corey. I didn't really want to deal with them. I think we had 300 bucks for the whole stack, but I think what his intention is to bring them to the auction on August 15th. So if you're local, you will see those for sale there. Mr. Do is sold, and that Corey's putting that in the arcade, I think. So anyhow, that's basically it. I mean, if you look around here, the parts room is pretty empty. They started running loads out this week, so we're trying to get out of the space this weekend. I'm taking my stuff out today because I'm going out of town for the next couple days, and I just wanted to make sure I didn't leave anything behind here for our move out day, which is this weekend. I know Corey was going to be selling some of these monitors, and there were a few people that hit me up on Clav on monitor chassis, particularly the 4900 and the 7300. I gave all of them to Corey just so he could, deal with it. So anyway, these will be still for sale, and you could certainly hit him up if you're looking for something specific. Anyway, that's basically it, guys. I appreciate watching over these last 5 months. It's been a lot of fun. Like I said, I learned a lot and had some fun along the way and made some money and ended up with 4 great games, that I wouldn't have had given, if I didn't have this opportunity. So hopefully you guys will stick around and watch those Restore series. I think that's probably a little more exciting than having me shoot videos here of what games are for sale and what's sold. And I think that's still a cool part of the business, considering that it sometimes feels like you don't really have a huge market for arcade games, and people see them and they're like, oh my god, I love arcade games, I was such a fan when I was a kid, but you just don't think about the fact that they still exist and there's still people that are into it. And so we'd have people, the shipping company guys that come in and they'd pick some games up to go wherever, and they're like, oh my god, this is amazing, and they want to sit and play games, and they want to talk about games, and want to tell you all about what they used to do when they were a kid and what game they were good at. And I just think that's a really cool part of this this industry or this hobby is just the sort of the childhood memories that we all have of spending our days. If you're over a certain age, I'm 41, so I lived at the arcade when I was a kid, and then when the Nintendo home console came out, the NES, I sat in front and played that thing forever. I mean, that was just what we did. Every kid did. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. The Arcade Geek on Clav is a good way to reach me still. Of course, I'm always buying and selling things on eBay as well, so if there's something that you see here that you're interested in, usually they'll go to Clav. Sometimes it goes to eBay. It just really depends on what it is. But anyway, if you have any questions, hit me up. Appreciate it. You guys have a good one, and we'll talk to you in the next video series.